I remember in our preview, I said, I'm not sure about her. She doesn't really strike me as Supergirl.
So welcome to the Siren Cut. We just got back from watching Supergirl. What did you think?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be for
Were
some
you
reason.
expecting it to be bad? I know
You
I
know, I
was.
I was because there was a lot of shorts on YouTube for a lot of people saying,
Talking
it's
about
like
it and
it's not that
kind of got in your
great.
head
It's
of.
and so forth. And frankly, it wasn't bad at all. It was actually pretty good, I thought.
I would have to say it was definitely better than I expected, but of course I expected it to be really bad for a lot of the same reasons. Just to see, how it was going and the talk of people really not liking some of the casting choices
Mhm.
and it doesn't help the direction that DC's been going in general. With a lot of their films, I think it was expected to be disappointing as usual.
I have to say the same thing with the casting as well. I remember in our preview, I said, I'm not sure about her. She doesn't really strike me as Supergirl. But I kind of liked Millie Alcock. Is that how
Mm-hmm.
you say
I
it?
think so.
She did actually a really good job. I really liked the complexity of her character. It didn't seem so clean. It had depth to her character.
Like just another version of Superman.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
and
the
and
previous
in my mind,
takes.
that's what I expect the
Right.
character to be.
Right.
But then I don't think that makes for a very interesting film.
I think that's one of the reasons why I did end up liking it is because I'm not beholden to Supergirl.
Mhm.
She's a later character. I mean, she's still been around a long time, but she wasn't around originally with the original Superman, and she always felt like an afterthought to me, especially because she was always just almost as clean cut as Superman himself. So it really didn't seem like he gained anything from having another character just like that. So the fact that they took this where they did, she's comes from a different place. I mean, technically the same place, Krypton, right? But her circumstances were different. Superman came as a baby. He has no memory of the
Krypton.
family or Krypton
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
anything like that. Where by the time she comes to Earth, she is old enough at
She
least to
was a
know. Yeah,
teenager.
she knows.
Mhm.
She remembers her family. She
Mhm.
feels that loss, and so I kind of like the way they played. I also feel like a lot of what worked in this film was mostly due to, I won't say ripoff, but a very similar tone to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Had a little Mad Max in it too, I think. It
Yeah, but
felt because of all the
the character design. I mean, yeah, they have this scene with the dirt and the
mhm.
desert
Mhm.
stuff, but I mean, the character designs and the humor, at least a little bit of the humor from mostly the movie's tone itself, but the bad guy, the main bad guy, and everything, awfully familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy. Not a surprise. I think they tried to kind of hone in on that template, and it worked. It was an entertaining film. We heard a lot of the people in the audience, laughed at the appropriate parts,
Uh-huh.
and it seemed like most people seemed to enjoy it around us. Overall, I think it was. I was pretty surprised that I liked it. I didn't love it or anything like that.
No, not by any means, but
Right.
it was enjoyable. As far as I loved the character Lobo.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was funny, actually.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah,
he has
he's a
a.
pretty crazy character, anyways. I
Mhm.
think my only problem is not with the Lobo character or Jason Momoa or anything. At times it felt like his character was thrown in.
Maybe.
More like let's add someone here. And it's like, oh, I know Lobo. It didn't really feel as like necessary or cohesive to the story, but it worked, and his character was entertaining enough that it played well. I think they obviously didn't try to make it overly buddy with the two characters,
Mhm.
her and him, but they do have the same goal initially. I think that's why they end up in the same place. It was pretty entertaining.
I hope they
There's-
do something with him in the future.
yeah,
It would
yeah.
be kind of an
I heard
interesting,
recently that he said Jason Momoa is only interested in doing a standalone Lobo film if it's rated R.
as it should be,
Yeah,
kind of like
you can tell the character.
Deadpool
Yeah,
or
right,
something, because
right,
he is a darker character.
right, right,
And I think that it would be successful if they get the story right.
right, right.
Hmm
I mean,
It's
that's always the
always
key, right?
right, exactly. And the storyline was pretty predictable as far as that
Right.
goes. But there's something to be said with that formula when you have a movie like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just how it's carried out, and I think it worked.
I mean, I collected comics for a very long time. I think I was spending over $200 in comics a month when I met you, and I think people seem to fail to remember that a lot of these movies now that superhero movies are a thing, that they go in and they want to see certain things and they get upset when certain things aren't done a certain way, and it's not Shakespeare. This is not hell. Even a lot of the comic book stories that they came from, they work because it's comic format. But a lot of the dialogue in the old comics was
kinda
like it
corny.
would be corny and cheesy if you put it in a movie, and
kinda-
so you can't really stick with that. And I think it's easy to remember when you're a kid or you're younger. All these things like really connect to you. But now watching it as an adult, I mean, yeah, it has to be adapted a different way for the movies, you know.
And with the time.
I think overall, yeah, for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
think overall DC struggled a lot more than Marvel has.
Mm-hmm.
I've always liked Marvel characters though over DC. They were always more human,
Mm-hmm.
more flawed. You know, they made them more interesting characters. Not everyone, but generally speaking.
Well, that's what made her character work.
Right.
It says she is flawed, and so it makes it more relatable to what's going on with people nowadays.
Yeah, for the most part.
And people are more open to say, "Hey, what's wrong?"
Right.
or what's basically mental health, whatever the case may be. But I think that made it interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a pretty good job, and it's funny because it was a very small scale story.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost similar to my complaint with Mandalorian. It was just a side quest, right? You know, nothing connected to the overall thing. Honestly, think in Supergirl you could kind of say the same thing, you know, as far as the overall world. But if she's going to be used going forward, I think it was important to tell her story in this movie and for people to understand where she's coming from, especially because she's so different than a lot of the previous incarnations of Supergirl. You know, especially live action.
I agree. Yeah.
But I think it worked. I think people just got to give it a chance. Stop being so,
Overly critical.
yeah, overly critical because it wasn't exactly what you envisioned in your head. You know, it's. I think it was an entertaining movie. Not perfect, definitely flawed. Some writing could have been better for sure, but overall, I think it just worked pretty well. At least a lot better than I thought. You know, so.
I'm glad we went to see this one.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty entertaining. The actors and everything were pretty well done. Again, everything from the tone to the design. I mean, ships and sets and locations was super reminiscent of Guardians of the Galaxy to me. Maybe that's why it worked. Just because
I know
Guardians of the
you like
Galaxies are very.
It's one of your favorite movies.
Yeah, very highly regarded. But we'll see where they take this from there. We'll see how this happens. I mean, next week, if there's an 80% drop off and doesn't do as well, I mean, they might have to go back to the drawing board. But yeah, we'll see.
Worked for me.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to see Supergirl? Are you going to go see it? Yeah, let us know what you think. Like, subscribe if you want to see what's coming up next. I think we got some good stuff. There's still some big movies coming out this summer. So,
And thanks for joining us.
yeah, thanks a lot. Later.